Solve puzzles by bending time, finding the right words, building iconic locations, hiding evidence, solving mechanical wonders, and even saving humanity itself. You can do all of this plus much more right now on Quest 3, Quest 3S, or Quest Pro. Welcome to Gameless Plus. I'm Josh, and these are 10 must-try Meta Quest 3 puzzle games. I've played a huge variety of puzzle games over the last few months to bring together this list of what I consider to be the best of the best. The puzzle genre really does fit so brilliantly in the VR space, especially with mixed reality being an option on the Quest 3. Puzzles honestly are one of the most essential gameplay tools used in a vast array of games, but all the games on this list are specifically puzzle games, not just games with puzzles in them. Stay tuned to the very end to see some bonus picks that didn't quite make the list, including a completely free mixed reality game that is incredibly inventive. These are all my real opinions on all of these games, and if you decide you want to buy any of them, click the links in the description below to support Gameless Plus directly. Now, before I start on this list, I want to talk about the sponsor of today's video, ANNAPRO, specifically their A3 Max battery pack head strap. I have tested out many head straps with battery packs since I started Gameless Plus, and I have to tell you, the ANNAPRO A3 Max battery pack head strap is absolutely my favorite. I use it on a daily basis. It's comfortable, fully adjustable, and it fits securely and is easy to set up. Adding the ANNAPRO CS1 charging dock and an additional 10,800 milliamp battery keeps me going basically on an endless supply of power. Click the link in the description below to get your ANNAPRO A3 Max battery pack, the CS1 charging dock, and an extra battery. You'll also find the link to my full unboxing of the head strap in the description as well. That being said, let's get started. At number 10, Infinite Inside. Infinite Inside is a very cool mixed reality exploration game where a stone column or plinth comes up out of the middle of your floor. Then you're tasked with finding all of the puzzle pieces within the plinth to create keys to progress. As you progress, you will enter into fully VR spaces to teleport around, finding more pieces of more puzzles. As you progress from chapter to chapter, it gets even more mind-bending. You actually jump into smaller areas that you've placed pieces in that change the landscape that you shrink down to get even smaller for to go in and explore that area. It's really cool. Oftentimes the pieces that you find to put together to become the keys look like they're going to be very simple because they're simple shapes, but then they are a lot harder than they look. The graphics look great, it's very polished, and all around it's a fun and interesting VR mixed reality puzzle experience. And there's even a DLC called The Hidden Depths that extends your experience even further. I was given early access to Infinite Inside early last year, and ever since I first jumped into it, I was fully impressed. It is really good. Next up, at number 9, Wordomi. Wordomi was truly a nice surprise to stumble across. It's an amazing word game played in mixed reality in your very own space. It's essentially a floating, timed, 3D crossword puzzle style version of Wordle. You can choose to have the letterboxes that are used for creating words either floating in space in front of you, or use a flat table surface to set them on in mixed reality. I really prefer the tabletop mode myself. It's a lot of fun. It's nice being able to set the blocks wherever you want, especially if there are letters that you know you can't use. You can just set them in a different spot on the table. There are over 100 word puzzles with multiple difficulties using randomly generated word sequences where repeating levels does not repeat the same word, which is great. There's classic mode, then there's subgram mode where you can form words from the same letters, and a themed mode for themed challenges, and even a word of the day. This is honestly a very good way to put your vocabulary skills to the test. All around, this is one of the coolest new puzzle games on the Quest 3, and in my opinion, the best word puzzler in VR. At number 8, Chrono Weaver. Chrono Weaver is definitely one of the most unique puzzle games I have ever tried. This game is described as a cooperative single-player puzzle game, where you and yourself use time manipulation to progress from area to area within this very strange and very inventive puzzle game. You find solutions to what seem like impossible tests where you have to shoot this target at the end of each of the levels. You explore a really fun physics-based world with a funny little robot sort of mascot guy that flies around and genuinely makes goofy comments that made me laugh quite a few times. You'll use buttons, levers, ropes, bouncers, and other objects to progress from level to level using these excellent time-bending mechanics. This really is just such a strange and interesting game that I stumbled across on the Metastore, and I just had to highlight it so more people can jump into it and try this very strange and mind-bending and very fun experience. If you're enjoying this video, this is the perfect time for you to hit that like button. It really does help my channel a lot. And don't forget to hit subscribe so you can see all my upcoming videos. Next on the list, at number 7, Cubism. Cubism is an awesome mixed reality 3D puzzle game where you use Tetris-like pieces to form pre-designated shapes level by level. One of the coolest things about this is just using your bare hands in mixed reality to manipulate these little puzzle pieces. It's a very relaxing and kickback kind of puzzle game. Cubism has actually been around for quite a while, but it had to land on this list because it's simply just a relaxing and excellent game, especially in mixed reality with a nice cup of coffee. There are 90 puzzles to put your spatial thinking skills to the test, and as simple as this game looks, it really is very challenging to find the solutions to these puzzles. One of the reasons I love puzzle games is that incredible feeling of satisfaction I get when I struggle to find a solution and then finally find it. Cubism really does deliver that feeling in a tightly polished mixed reality experience. At number 6, Humanity. Humanity at first glance seems like a very cool throwback to the old game Lemmings from back in the 90s. In Humanity, you guide large hordes of people through portals, across chasms, through water, over obstacles, and a ton of variables using a cute little Shiba Inu dog. You control this little pup to give them directions each step of the way with a platform game type control scheme. Unlike Lemmings falling to their death, when these humans fall too far off the screen, they just simply rematerialize in the portal they're coming from. The feeling of infinite flow is really cool in this game. There's an incredible array of different possibilities and paths in this diverse and expansive puzzle game. This is an incredibly well-loved game that is available on all the big platforms, but there's just something really special about playing this in the full splendor of 3 dimensions in VR. This is also an incredibly expansive experience beyond the main levels, as you can create your own puzzles for other people to play, as well as play other people's puzzles. So the possibilities are truly endless. Next up, at number 5, Hide the Corpse. Hide the Corpse is the biggest surprise that I found on this list, as it is one of the most bizarre puzzle games that you will ever experience in your life. When I read the description of hiding a corpse from the police, I wondered how on earth it could possibly be an actual puzzle game. But then when I was trying to stuff the body into the proper shape underneath a lifted car so I could lower the car down on top of the body to hide it, I really realized it truly is a puzzle game. And an incredibly unique one, to be sure. Part of the fun of this game is just the pure hilarity of it. If you're old enough to remember the movie Weekend at Bernie's, this definitely has those vibes. This game is completely and utterly hysterical. I really found myself consistently just laughing at the ridiculousness of trying to put the body into all these random obscure spots. As morbid as it might seem, it really is a lighthearted and silly romp where you can hear the progress of the police coming as you try to hide the body and all the evidence so you can get as high a score as possible. You even use a sponge to clean up all the fingerprints from anything you touched during each timed run. And seriously, sometimes you will be surprised where you leave fingerprints just by barely touching things. There's a nice variety of settings, each with a whole collection of different hiding spots. Figuring out those mechanical options for hiding the body is another part of the puzzle elements in this game. Besides all of it just being so hilarious and fun, it's really impressive how well the physics are used within the game for moving the body to fit into tight spaces in regular gravity, as well as underwater and even in space. Hide the Corpse is a fantastic and bizarre 70s themed puzzle game that really is perfect for VR. At number 4, Snapstick. Snapstick is one of the most surprising, awesome mixed reality experiences that I've had the pleasure of discovering while creating one of my other lists. From laser puzzles to rolling marble puzzles to simple path puzzles and all kinds of other bizarre variations like shadow puzzles, etc., Snapstick is an absolute delight of a puzzle game from the very start. There are hundreds of puzzles to complete, and along the way, you'll experience a very lighthearted, although strangely adult story about a dog who makes some very questionable choices. The game is brilliantly narrated by the creator with some absolutely silly humor, including a talking toilet who just wants to make friends. This game is honestly shockingly good. This landed high on my list because it is truly phenomenal. Do not hesitate to pick up Snapstick. You will not be disappointed. At number 3, the House of DaVinci VR. House of DaVinci is truly one of the most beautiful looking games on the Quest 3, hands down. Gorgeous graphics aren't what you're here for though, you're here for good puzzle solving. And this game is chock full of awesome Leonardo da Vinci inspired mechanical puzzles that are truly awe-inspiring. There's a great variety of puzzle types with all kinds of moving pieces, including a flashback device where you can see da Vinci himself moving within the space where you can figure out clues that he shows you by controlling time with a little knob on your hand. Each step of the way is fascinating, challenging, and just feels great when you finally pass a puzzle that you felt a bit stuck on. It's got an awesome realistic style that differentiates itself vastly from most of those other cartoony looking games out there. All around, the House of DaVinci is not to be missed for fans of mechanical puzzles and games like The Room. It is absolutely worth every penny. Next, at number 2, Puzzling Places. Puzzling Places had to land high on this list because it is just a brilliant puzzle game that keeps on giving. You can use hand tracking to manipulate all the puzzle pieces within your own space, with a huge variety of different options to choose from. There are many different puzzle sizes to choose from, and an incredible array of beautiful photogrammetry landscapes and locations to construct. This game has been around for a long time, and it still holds up as one of the best puzzle experiences you can have on the Quest 3. The mixed reality being included with the Quest 3 is how I experienced this for the first time, but even without mixed reality, the way that this game is built for you to build is just brilliant. It still really feels like it's ahead of its time, and it's one of the older games on this list, but it is absolutely a must-play for puzzle fans. And finally, easily landing at number 1, The Room VR. The Room VR, A Dark Matter, is hands down the best VR puzzle gaming experience out there by far. From the very first moments of the puzzle solving in the office you start in, where you solve a simple logic puzzle to get the right items from a small elevator, to the adventure-like archaeological journey to the very end, The Room VR just does everything right. As you progress through each of the settings in the game, new and interesting mechanics are brought to your disposal, like shrinking down to go inside mechanical parts that you can change before re-entering to past parts that you were stuck at before. There's just such a vast array of cool mini-games and ways to get through things and creative ideas. There's truly a magical quality to this that just makes it so much fun. It's truly ingenious game creation through and through. I had planned on playing this for a very long time and finally got to it for the purpose of making this video, and now I consider it one of my favorite VR games that I've ever played. To put it simply, I want more. It's so good. I gotta say that's really my only complaint about it, is I just wish there were more of it. Thankfully, Fireproof Games is not done creating puzzle games in the VR space. If you haven't played The Room VR, you are truly missing out, and I suggest you play it right now. So that's it for the top 10, but I will suggest some additional titles that are definitely worth checking out as well. Starting with Limelight, an awesome and very straightforward puzzle game from the same creator of Snapstick, where you guide a little line through a bunch of pathways, flipping switches, and finding a way forward. It looks so simple, but it's honestly very challenging and brilliantly done. Tetris Effect Connected, which is Tetris in its most grandiose form. Basically, it's the size of a wall in front of you with amazing music thumping away, driving you forward as you play. And it even has multiplayer modes thrown in that make the whole experience unbelievably good for Tetris fans of all ages. And finally, Wet, a landscape molding puzzle game where you raise and lower land to make water flow to the right places to pass from level to level. It's completely free and most definitely worth a try, if not for just simply enjoying the moldable quality that it has. It's so strangely satisfying getting the water to flow the way you want it to in these little mixed reality landscapes. It's very cool. So there you have it, 10 must-try MetaQuest 3 puzzle games, plus some great bonuses. Puzzle games are definitely one of the more sophisticated ways to game in virtual reality, and it's such a satisfying and often quite relaxing way to game in VR. But that's just what I think. What do you think? What is your favorite puzzle that you have ever played through, in VR or otherwise? Are there any puzzle games that you feel like I should have included in this list? Let's talk about it in the comments below. While you're here, why don't you check out my list of the 10 must-play mixed reality games right here. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to all my loyal subscribers. Go try something new. I'll see you next time on Game List Plus.
Okay, be aware, we have no information if the citizen is mentally stable.